What's up, smart homers? My name's Aaron. The Reolink Duo 2 is one of the most unique cameras that I've seen in a long time. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Duo 2 and I'll show you how to add it to Home Assistant.
Press start.
Reolink released the Duo 1 last year, but they've already released the Duo 2, which has some more features that make it quite a bit better than its predecessor. Full disclosure, I did reach out to Reolink to see if they could send me one of these cameras for free, but they didn't tell me anything I should say about it, so you can expect an honest review. What makes this device so special is the fact that it actually has two cameras on it, making it slightly resemble a certain Disney robot from back in 2008. The camera actually stitches the images from the two cameras together, making one super wide video stream that has a 180-degree field of view. Understandably, the stitching isn't perfect between the two, and there's a little bit of a seam between the two images, especially when the subject is up close to the camera. In the previous version, the camera was producing two separate video streams, and I think they were just stitched together in the app, which is what made me so skeptical about the first one and why I didn't want to actually review it. With the Duo 2 though, the two cameras now produce a single stream, which makes everything look a lot cleaner and helps when we're integrating it into Home Assistant. The Duo 2 has a 180-degree field of view, where the previous one only had 150 degrees. Another change from the Duo 1 is that while the Duo 1 only had 2K resolution, this one has 4K. I'm no expert with camera image quality, so I'm not going to try to compare it with any other cameras and give you some verdict on the quality of the camera, but I'll just say that I think it's pretty great. The body of the camera is IP66 waterproof, which is great since the best use case would be for outdoors. It has 8 spotlight LEDs that are quite bright, helping to illuminate the field of view at night. And for night vision, it has 6 infrared LEDs, which I actually prefer over the spotlight since the spotlight can give away the location of the camera and is kind of annoying sometimes. Another cool thing about this device is that even though it has 2 lenses, the exposure is controlled together. So when you look at that stitched together stream, you don't see one side of the image is a little darker than the other because the exposure is different. I'm not sure exactly how they do this, but it really gives that impression of a single wide-angle lens. The camera has two-way voice, and the microphone is pretty decent, but I'm not really going to compare it with any other cameras. The camera actually comes with a bunch of different options. There's power over Ethernet, there's the Wi-Fi version, which is the one I got. The PoE version costs around $150, where the Wi-Fi version is around $160. Like I mentioned, I got the Wi-Fi version because I don't have a PoE switch set up at my house yet. I know I really should, and at some point I'll get to it. The Wi-Fi version works with either 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz networks, which is nice, and the camera also has an SD card slot on the underside, which allows up to 256 gigabytes of storage. Reolink says that this should give you about 96 hours of recording at standard bitrate, but that really depends on the recording settings that you use. One of my favorite things about Reolink cameras is that there's no monthly fee for recording video. The app isn't super great, but I really don't use the app except for setting the camera settings and maybe quickly checking the stream. Most of the time, I'm using Home Assistant. One really cool thing that you can change in the camera settings under Display and then Advanced is the image stitching distance settings. This allows you to choose how far away your subjects would typically be and changes how that stitching is actually going to look. This is something that you can dial in and get just the way you want. Let's talk about how we add this camera to Home Assistant. The best way that I've found to add any Reolink camera to Home Assistant is using a custom HACS integration called Reolink IP Camera. Before we add it though, we actually need to set the camera up in the Reolink app, and then we need to use the Reolink desktop client to change a couple settings on the camera so that it's going to work properly. First, download the app, and once in the app, tap Add Device in the upper right corner and scan the QR code on the camera. Once the camera is connected, you'll have to set up a username and password for it, which you're going to need later. You'll also need to use the app to open the camera settings to find out the IP address of the camera. It's a good idea to reserve the IP address of the camera because you're going to need it later and you don't want it changing on you and messing up your Home Assistant setup. Next, you need to go ahead and install the Reolink desktop client on your PC. Once installed, we can add the camera using the camera's IP address and then go to the camera settings. Here we should go to Network Settings and then Enable RTMP and RTSP. Once those are enabled, close the desktop client and head over to Hacks and install the Reolink integration. You'll have to add this one as a custom repository, so you're going to copy the link to the repository. I'll leave a link in the description. And then in Hacks, you're going to click the three-dot menu in the top right and click Custom Repositories. Paste the repository link into the repository field, choose Integration for the category, and press Add. The new repo is going to show up and you can go ahead and download it. After that, you'll need to restart Home Assistant. After restart, head to Settings, Devices and Services, and then click Add Integration. Search for the Reolink IP camera integration, and if it doesn't show up, try refreshing your browser or closing it and reopening it. Click the integration and wait for it to set up. In the host field, you're going to enter the IP address of the camera that you identified earlier, and then you're going to enter the username and password that you set up for the camera in the app. Click Submit, choose an area if you want, and then click Finish. This integration gives you a bunch of cool controls and sensors, but the camera stream isn't going to work yet, so I want to show you how to change that. Go back to Devices and Services and click Configure for the Reolink integration. Set the protocol to RTSP, set the stream to sub, and set the compression format to H.264. Click Submit when you're finished, and now you should be all set up. If the changes don't take place right away, you may have to reload the integration, which you can do in the Devices and Services page. As you can see, the video stream in Home Assistant is that stitched together stream, meaning both camera images are displayed on a single stream. There's a spotlight switch in Home Assistant which turns on or off those 8 LEDs, really lighting up the place. There's a functional siren switch, as well as an audio recording switch. Some of these switches are a bit finicky, and I'm not sure exactly why, but I particularly had issues with the notifications and recording switches. The sensors include motion detection, person detection, pet, and vehicle detection. The pet detection doesn't seem to work properly as it keeps going from off to unavailable, but I don't have a pet to test it anyway. That's pretty much it with the Home Assistant setup. What I really love about this camera is that single video stream in Home Assistant. This makes it super easy to see the entirety of my backyard. And where with normal cameras you might need 2 cameras to cover that same area, and you have to be switching between the 2 looking for your subject, like if you're looking for your kid out there. Or with this one, you can see the entire backyard and you can tell if your kid wandered into the neighbor's property or if they went around the side of the house. I may pick up another one of these for the front of my house so that I can see 180 degrees on both sides of the house, and then have a couple wise cams for the other 2 sides. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys saw how sweet the Reolink Duo 2 is. I've had it for about a month and I've had no issues with it. If you guys did enjoy the video, please press the like button as it really does help with the algorithm. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified when the next one comes out. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.